Okay. Well, the Eagles looked really good against the Vikings on Monday night. Wow, like Hurts was connected on passes and Quez Watkins were burning people downfield. Are we legit? Or am I overreacting because we played Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of It's Always Sunny in South Philadelphia. I'm your host, Riley Rich. Let's go! Oh, that's another fly ball to center field. Garcia going back to the track. Leaping, it's gone! That one has enough distance to get out. We got so... You are listening to the It's Always Sunny in South Philadelphia podcast, covering the Philadelphia Phillies, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Penn State Nittany Lions football team. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the host of IASSP, Riley Rich. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition of It's Always Sunny in South Philadelphia, episode number 26 of season number 2. We had episode 25 yesterday. We have episode 26 today. We have episode number 27 about the Phillies tomorrow. Episode 25 on September 21st. This was coming out on September 22nd. Phillies episode is coming out on September 23rd. And I'm going to assume that Penn State is going to have a massacre over Central Michigan, so that we might see 4 upload days in a row. I might just put that on Saturday just to get it over with. But very exciting times over here. Welcome back. I'm your host, Riley Rich, and today we'll be covering the Philadelphia Eagles and their massive Monday night victory over the Minnesota Vikings. It's very weird to me that I'm doing this game before I talk about the Phillies week that feels like 2 weeks ago. But, I don't know. A schedule is a schedule, I guess. And speaking of the Phillies, if I'm, looking over, if you see me and I'm, looking to the side, I'm, actively watching the Phillies game on mute. It's a pretty important game against the Braves. They're on Fox, so that's why I'll be shifting my eyes over as Dalton Guthrie just got a base hit. Good for him. But that's not the point of this. This is a football episode, so let's get back on topic. First, before we do, make sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen: YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. I already talked about YouTube, getting those views up, which they haven't, but I'll give you guys time. Spotify or podcast people, I want 1,000 plays by Thanksgiving break. I think we can do that. We might be able to do that by next month, so we'll see. And then merch. You guys know where to get merch. It's bonfire.com/store/IASSP-merch to get your merch like this. You guys have seen the Philly John one that I've worn a few times. And what if I told you, if you didn't watch yesterday's episode, you should have. That's your fault. But what if I told you there's new merch on the way? Yeah, that's right. Or, not on the way, it's already here. That all baseball lovers, I know, not really football related, but all baseball lovers, I'm going to show it, in the middle of my screen, so it's, basically covering my face. But, yeah, so you can see, we got some new merch, right across the front. Hitting is a science, pitching is an art. You got our logo on the bottom. If you guys are, huge baseball people, I'll talk about it more on Friday, because I'll get more baseball people on that one. But if you guys enjoy baseball, go ahead, buy that merch. You guys know where to get it. It's bonfire.com/store/IASSP-merch. And with all that being said, let's begin. Basically covering the Philadelphia Eagles 24-7 win over the Minnesota Vikings. This was not close. For those who only watched the second half, I feel very bad, because both teams were shut out in the second half. But the Eagles didn't really need to score in the second half. Their defense was lights out the whole second half. I believe all of our 3 interceptions came in the second half. we were able to shut down Monday Night Kirk Cousins, which I think even like the Geno Smith Seahawks would be able to do that. So I don't know why I think that's like such a great accomplishment, but we played Kirk Cousins on Monday night, which thank God. I'm gonna go over the stats. Let's start with the QB like we always do. Jalen Hurts. I'm gonna say this right now. I know they play two different levels, but Jalen Hurts is so much better than Sean Clifford. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Sean. You did deserve that. But Jalen Hurts is a mythical beast. 26 for 31 passing, 333 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. On the ground, 11 carries, 57 yards. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground. Miles Sanders. Again, the thing about Miles Sanders is that he quietly puts together really good games. Like, really good games. Like, he had 80 yards, and, like, no one cares. Like, he can break off, like, 10, 15-yard runs, and, like, no one bats an eye. Yet we're, like, putting all of our attention on Austin Eckler right now, who, for a lot of people, were some fantasy owners' first-round pick, and his largest run was 12 yards, and I don't even have to go on Google.com to tell you that Miles Sanders has had better gains than him. Miles Sanders, 80 yards. Boston Scott had 4 carries, 19 yards. Actually, kind of surprised Boston Scott didn't get more carries. That's a good thing. I want to clarify that is a good thing. Miles Sanders is our first running back. Let's keep it that way. And then, of course, Kenny Gainwell, two rushes on 7 yards on 2 rushes. Don't really care about that. Kenny Gainwell is more of a receiving back, even though the Eagles don't really agree, as they only gave him like 1 catch for 11 yards. But that's how I see Gainwell. That's how he fits into our system, whether people like to admit that or not. Receiving, very much like the Penn State game. I don't know why I keep making references to that. Maybe because we cover them. But the tight end led the way in receiving yards again. Dallas Goedert with 5 catches and 82 yards. Devontae Smith went from not catching a pass last week against Detroit to getting 7 catches for 80 yards, second on the team. In yardage, Quez Watkins with 2 catches, mainly the 53-yard touchdown bomb, where he completely put the entire Vikings secondary in shambles. A.J. Brown had 5 carries for 69 yards. Zach Pascal with 2, did I just say 5 carries? 5 catches. Pascal with 2 catches for 14 yards. Underrated free agent signing. Well, I mean, it's not really that underrated, but he fills depth. I just feel bad that we're like not really giving him that much playing time. And again, we talked about Gainwell gained 11 yards, Miles Sanders 6 yards on 3 catches, and Boston Scott with a 2-yard catch. On the defensive side, yet again, I believe I'm gonna flip through my notes just to guarantee that, yes, for the second week in a row, T.J. Edwards leads the team in sacks. He is really turning himself into the face of the linebacking core that basically no casual fan has ever heard of before. He had 10 total tackles this week, with 7 of them being solo tackles. Avonte Maddox and C.J. G.J. with 4 solo tackles, with Josh Sweat having 3 solo tackles. Marcus Epps and Kaiser White with 2 solo tackles each. When we talk about the total tackle numbers, Avonte Maddox came up with 8. Marcus Epps came out with 6. C.J. G.J. and Kaiser White had 5 total tackles. Josh Sweat and Fletcher Cox each had 3. And Hassan Reddick and Brandon Graham each had 2. I did not keep track of sacks and tackles for loss. I just realized that now. I'll just keep going, and then I'll mention them, like, out of order. Darius Slay, star of this game. I don't even need to tell you that Darius Slay was the star of this game. He was absolutely incredible. 5 pass deflections. You know what? I've seen him get a lot of hate for, not being able to catch the ball, which I get. It annoys some people sometimes. But, look, he kept in a matchup with Justin Jefferson. Again, like we talked about with Eckler, a person that went in the first round in a bunch of fantasy leagues. I think like 90% of football fans would have him like as a top 3 receiver, and he was held to 1 catch against Darius Slay. So take that as a solid. He also had 2 picks. Kinda low key mossed Justin Jefferson. That was very fun to see. Avonte Maddox also had an interception this game. He also had a pass deflection. And then T.J. Edwards, Kazir White, Son Reddick, James Bradbury, and Zach McPherson. I say it like that because he does not have an A in his name. They all had pass deflections. When we look at TFLs, there are 4 in the game. 3 of them courtesy of Josh Sweat. The other one came in the way of T.J. Edwards. 2 sacks in this game, 1 by Josh Sweat and 1 by Fletcher Cox. Jake Elliott with 1 for 2 in field goals and 3 for 3 in extra points. Again, didn't really need. I mean, obviously 100% is nice, but again, this is one of the games where we can let that slide. Just don't let it become a habit. And then Aaron Sipas with 4 punts and 179 yards. So yeah, very solid week. We have the Washington Commanders yet next at Snyder World out in Landover, Maryland. I think a lot of Kami fans would not like that I use that term, but unfortunately is the case until the NFL decides to remove them. And then we have the Jaguars after that, and the Giants after that. A very soft 2-0. Remember with the Broncos went 3-0 last year, and then completely choked. That's gonna be the same thing with the Giants. So I predict a 5-0 start for the Eagles, and this is going to be a very, very nice season for each team. That's right, playoff ambitions are back. Number 4 in the power rankings seems to be the consensus. But there's a lot of hope around this Eagles team. And also Jalen Hurts actually established himself as a quarterback. Kind of like his Alabama counterpart Tua Tagovailoa this week. So very solid for Alabama quarterbacks all the way around. And with all the stats covered, you guys know what time it is. It's time to cut to some game film. And here we are back again with some game film. I like how for for the Eagles, the NFL is the actual one that provides highlights. So thank you to the NFL for giving us these highlights. Although I know for a fact they are going to come and copyright me, but that's okay as long as they allow me to put it back on the internet. But we got some highlights here of the game. We're going to start with a first and goal very early on in the game, 50 seconds into the highlights. 9 minutes left. Got 2 receivers at top. Devontae Smith here on the bottom. Miles Sanders in the backfield. You have Goddard as your lead block. As there's a guy that Goddard just completely missed. As I'm going to rewind, as he completely bolts away from him, but it's okay because it's a read option. They saw the linebacker or the end coming off the edge. Hurts makes a quick move, gets around the corner, and somehow is able to dive his way forward. He's in for 7. The Eagles get off to a quick start in this one. I'm going to cut here. 2nd and 8, start of the second quarter. Receiver on top, 2 receivers on the bottom. I believe it's a 2 tight end set. Well, I'm probably proven wrong. Play action. I want you to pay attention. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. I'll wait until we get back here. I'm going to play this at a quarter playback speed so we can see what we're talking about here. I like the little top left. So you got a play action. I want you to watch the bottom of the screen and the way that Quez Watkins is able to burn through the defense. Okay, basically at this point, Essentially, everyone is past their quarter. Just out of the pocket. Excellent job by the Eagles O-line. Honestly, our 4 best blockers have people. Hurts has plenty of time. Guns it down the field. Okay, this guy is left alone. Quez Watkins is completely left alone. Kind of underthrew him, but you know what? It doesn't even really matter that much. Perfect, basically a perfect throw from Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry for those who are listening via the or via Spotify right now that didn't really see. Coldest picture of all time. Coldest Eagles picture of all time. That right there. Tua should have done this, but whatever. Missed opportunity. Jalen Hurts is the man. He has shown that. We're going to jump ahead yet again. As I thought the Phillies hit a home run. Long fly ball. Good thing I wasn't broadcasting. We would have had a Mad Excursion moment. 3rd and 2. It is another read option. That again, Goddard lets this guy crash in. Blocks the second guy out. Actually kind of runs past him. And the corner follows him. Goddard's able to keep him under wraps. Devontae Smith is like able to keep the 2 receivers distracted. That guy completely missed from behind. And Hurts is going to spin his way forward. Look at the way that he dives for this touchdown. Very impressive stuff from QB1. Again, here's Hurts basically taking his time, letting the play set up. Former Eagle Jordan Hicks is going to lunge at him. Completely misses. Well, doesn't completely miss. Spins him around. One guy trying to tackle him. Can't get the ball free. Lunges forward. Gets the touchdown. No one has to suffer through the 2-minute warning because the touchdown has already been scored. Great job there from Jalen. Whole game. Great job by Jalen Hurts. And a solid job by the receivers blocking the whole way there. Skipping forward yet again. 2nd down and 10. We got Monday Night Kirk Cousins on full display. 2 receivers on the top, 2 receivers on the bottom. We are going to get an ad at some point, which is not cool. Not cool at all. He had Dalvin in the backfield. Eagles, the D-line pressured him right here. I'm going to slow this down yet again so we can see in all beauty how this Eagles pass rush has been working. You got Hassan Reddick on the left side, Josh Sweat on the right side. As Kirk is going to take the snap. Hassan Reddick, the tackle's already backed up a whole lot. I believe that's Milton Williams that's getting through the D tackle, kind of held up, gets his arms around Cousins, and because of that, we have an active ad from Airbnb that they are not sponsoring this. But Milton Williams, I'll just talk through. Milton Williams was able to get his arms around Kirk Cousins and was able to put enough pressure on him that he was able to underthrow the ball. So we still have yet another ad, as I did see that. Sees Milton Williams gets the hands in, is able to underthrow this ball. He's looking for Jefferson, picked off by Slay. It wasn't really Cousins' fault. I mean, I guess I'd blame that more on the O-line, but it's not even the O-line's fault. It's just a great play from the Eagles' defense. That's all it is. Not really. The O-line just couldn't contain the elite pass rush of Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, Milton Williams, and Fletcher Cox. You got a 3rd and 7 right here. 3 receivers on the top, 1 receiver on the bottom. You got Bradbury covering the man on the bottom. Edwards out here. Again, we got Four-man pass rush, because Kaiser White is actually part of this pass rush. Again, the edges are just dominating the tackles. Actually, sorry. Wow, I can't count. That's a five-man rush. That pressures Cousins. I believe he was going for that curl. Again, pressure in his face. Had to throw it off. Avonte Maddox leaps up in the air, grabs the ball, gets the pick, slows down the Vikings offense. And we'll cut to one last interception before we conclude this episode. And here we go again. 5 wide. We talked about this. 3 receivers on the top, 2 at the bottom. Justin Jefferson, the man at the bottom of the screen. We are already talking about Darius Slay. This is like perfect timing from ESPN. Darius Slay is kind of backed up. He knows he's going for the end zone. Again, we're going to go back into 0.25 playback speed, as I might have cut it a bit too early. But we will suffer through this long pass rush. You get the linebackers encroaching. 3rd and goal, 6-man rush. This is a full-out blitz. Got man coverage around him. You got the one guy off of the edge, Josh Sweat, pressuring Cousins. He has to throw the ball away. Screw it, Justin Jefferson down there somewhere. Well, guess what? You thought wrong, buddy. There's Darius Slay leaping up, grabbing the ball, getting the pick. There's a thought of a fumble in there somewhere, but clearly down. And if not, I think the Eagles recovered it anyway. So nice shot by CJ to ensure that. And that is going to do it for this episode Thank you for watching / listening. Make sure to follow and subscribe to wherever you listen. If you can see me right now, hello. And you should be able to see those right now. And remember, even if the Eagles cannot stop the Washington Commanders and former quarterback Carson Wentz, even if the receiving tandem of McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel gets the Eagles' corners, even if the hype isn't real, which is, I do not think is a possibility at all, keep your heads high, because it's always sunny. It's South Philadelphia. I will see you guys tomorrow for a Phillies episode.